Okay, so begins day 2. Let me think. Where did I leave off? The last mission was, I went to the, area, the cabin where the mission was, and I ran through it before starting the mission because I got there so late. But now I'm going back to do the mission proper. And this is all in service of just completing missions for Trade Erect and getting as much, basically hoping that I can find as many books as I can. I mean, resources. I debate a lot on whether or not I should be gathering resources at all. Because in a lot of cases, I don't use them. Especially when it comes to ammunition, weapons, things like that. I really don't have any use for them. Vehicle parts. I mean, I'm not going to start needing vehicle parts until I get closer to obtaining the mini bike. And at this point, it's like, I don't know. I don't even know if I would actually utilize the mini bike. Just due to the fact that I'm not going to be, I mean, as far as I can tell, I'm going to be sticking pretty much in this biome for at least, I would say 28 days. I do think that 28 days would give me enough time to build up my electrical skills to the point where I can start running around with, dart traps and electrical fence, things like that. Because I'm really doubting the effectiveness of spike traps out in the harder biomes. I mean, I know when you get into the desert and the wasteland, there are certain POIs that are just, you get overrun, even with a full armament of weaponry. You just get overrun and overwhelmed. I can't imagine trying to do it with traps only. So there seems to be an aspect of this type of run where I'm going to be limited, but I'm only going to be limited by myself. And while I probably could go days deep into a run like this, just sticking around this biome, I'm eventually going to get bored, and I'm going to have to venture out. I can't just make my only contact with some of the harder bosses be the blood moons. I mean, there's got to be... I'm going to investigate the efficacy of this type of run, even if it means that I'm going to lose the run. Because I don't know if I mentioned this before, but this is a permadeath run. So if I die once, I restart the run. Just for added sake of because if I always feel like when I'm playing 7 Days to Die, if I don't have any sort of caveat to death, then it's just mindless at that point. You're just kind of, doing it to do it. There's no real point. There's no challenge. So, but this game can be insanely punishable when it wants to be, especially in the later stage of the game and the harder biomes, when they just start, when the POIs are set up basically just to drop you in the midst of, a sea of zombies. It's almost like it's begging you, it's begging to kill you. It's not even begging. It's a sucker punch in a lot of cases. Unless you know where those traps are going to be. And figure out a way to avoid them or prepare for them adequately enough, you're gonna die. So that's why no death runs and permadeath runs are still pretty viable, but you have to get, just playing the standard game, you have to get pretty deep in before you start to get into those POIs that are really going to test your mettle. In this case, I can't seem to get past day 14 in all my attempts. It's like either something goes wrong, I mess something up, the game. I mean, I think the last time I did a trap only run where I got to day 14, and there's no video evidence of this. This is when I was just playing it on my own and just kind of testing the waters with it. The concept. I got to day 14 and I just got smoked. I got completely overwhelmed. And this is before I realized, or I learned about the mechanics of the game. And I was just getting hammer fisted by different mobs of random enemies, random mobs. But the blood moon, the last time I got to a day 14 blood moon with the trap only run, yeah, that was a good find there. Those boots, I like finding those boots because I always have a problem with fall damage. And when I either break my legs, break my ankles, or sprain my ankles, it really costs me when I'm, trying to stay mobile and trying to stay silent at night, because that stuff gives you away every single time. And that's another lucky find, getting the shovel modification. A lot of good luck in this run, I have to say. But as I was saying, on the run where I did trap only and went really deep, I learned right off the bat, or pretty quickly, that the Blood Moon base is pretty vital. I mean, you kind of have to build it right, or you're going to end up dying. And I was building this complex base, and it all went to hell because I built this additional, because I wanted to build like a mine, quote unquote, where I could be completely enclosed in a cobblestone wall and just build myself down into the earth so I could be protected from zombies, coming in and screwing with me while I'm trying to dig and mine. But I could also find, mine for resources and try to get down to bedrock and maybe potentially do something with it down the line. But that ended up being my downfall because it was attached to my main base. And since it was directly attached to my main base, everything that I had built up to that point to ward off direct attack by zombies, of them just busting, because I had this whole system of them, where they were going to be able to like rush me through a gate, basically. And I had been working it for a while, like had these, I don't know, what do you call it? No, I can't remember the names of things now. Not trap doors, but oh, you know what I'm talking about. Well, I had these whole things set up and a little catwalk system there. I can knock them off, or just they get clumped up and then they get knocked off. And I had my pillars that were holding my elevated position up, surrounded by the no-go blocks, so I could keep zombies from attacking the pillars if they got frustrated by coming over the catwalk. And I was trying to create basically a passive cycle of zombies just trying to get to me and then falling off and then repeating the cycle. Well, since I built that secondary building that was directly attached to my main base, they just burrowed through the wall and then just came up behind me. And by the time I realized what was going on, because when day 14 started, the blood moon started, I'm like waiting for them to come. I'm waiting. I'm like, uh-oh, there's no zombies. So I ran back and checked, and they were already at the gate, pretty much, that boundary, the barrier. uh, the hatch. That's what it is. I had an iron hatch set up, and I had the foresight enough to know set up an iron hatch across this walkway in case somebody like figures out a way to get through. Yeah, there was all of them. They were just pounding away on that iron hatch. I'm like, well, it's over now, because I had nowhere to go. Once I had to get out of my main base, and I jumped on my bike and skedaddled, but then I just got pummeled by vultures, and it was over at that point. So lesson learned, the raid base is insanely important to this run. It's the very thing, because when I do a standard run, my raid bases are pretty much the old school, elevated catwalk raid base. I mean, you can get all the way to, like, I think day 21 and the third blood moon with just a knife running those type of bases. I know I could easily do day 7 and day 14 with knife only. I think I did day 21 knife only too, if I'm not mistaken, on one of my previous no death runs. But I mean, the elevated catwalk sort of base does most of the work for you.
Well, I guess I'm gonna have to pay you now that you did it.
I don't even know why I'm like going over the options. I was obviously gonna get the magazine or the book.
Let's make a pact. Good luck. You better not make me regret. Take a look, buy some shit, and get the hell out.
Selling those mods. I keep the armor parts because at some point I'm going to build armor. I just don't know when yet. I'm also realizing on this run I'm coming up short consistently on duct tape and glue. Duct tape and glue is like, I was swimming in it last run, and this run I'm really coming up short. I want to build another. Oh, this is, yeah, I haven't even. Yep, there's my little. This is the day that I start building my base up. And I think that's why I'm doing the commentary now, because I realize, like, me just chipping away, like building a base and chipping away at it, bit by bit, it's so tedious that I can't imagine anyone actually watching it from start to finish with no commentary. It's like, what are you watching? Why not just play the game? But all the commentary I'm doing for this is after the fact. I don't know if I'm going to do commentary while I'm playing, because I just sort of get wrapped up in my own, in what I'm doing. It's easier for me to just kind of watch what I'm doing. That way I can get lost in thought or go down paths and not have to really concern myself with the multitasking aspect of it. Yeah, I set up my, this game, I didn't enclose this outside little part, and I just leave my campsite, or camp stove, or campfire, or whatever, outside. And that should be fine. I don't think that's ever going to be a real problem. But it's just, it's funny to me, because now when it's night, I usually turn the fires off. Like, I turn off the forge and I turn off the campfire at night, just because I don't want to get raided by zombies. Like, when I'm trying to be as quiet as I possibly can. I'm trying to be as inconspicuous as I can at night, because I'm doing a lot of mining in the inner depths of my base. And I don't want to be disturbed in doing my mining. So, and I know that with the campfire and the forge and whatever else running, the heat zone is increasing. Hell, I'll even take down the any torches that I have up just to try to keep that down, because I know I'm trying to keep my heat level down as much as possible to keep zombies from hoarding me. Because I'm not, my main base is not something that I want to, like, it's not a last stand sort of deal. I don't want to be swamped by zombies. So I'm just trying to do work in there. And I know that during the evening, it's dangerous for me to do a lot of processing, food, forge, things like that. And then also do mining, because even doing anything at night involving that, it runs the risk of getting raided by a horde, and then that's going to put me on the run at night with fast moving zombies. I don't want to take that chance. So I kind of shut everything down, and I just go into I'm either out and about hunting for snakes, or I'm in a lower level, kind of chipping away at the earth or rock beneath my base, hoping I can find some sort of like minerals or resource like iron or coal, nitrate, whatever, and mine that for all I can get out of it, overnight. And it's boring. But the gist of this is that is very, very boring to watch. So it's kind of senseless for me to just put it up and be like, here, watch this, people. Who wants to watch that? No one. Oh, this little town area. I'm so familiar with it. That's my favorite house right there. I don't think I go into it right now because I'm being pursued. I load up so much at this mission that I was given the thought that I was gonna go back to that house and raid it after I get done with the mission, but I thought about it a little bit, but going in before, but I knew I'd end up with a bunch of stuff, and I didn't want to do that and then have to take on the mission. So I decided mission first, then if I've got enough space, I'll go back and do that. Oh, another thing about this run is not all the mailboxes, but the majority of the mailboxes I'm going to are all paper. I've noticed that that's been coming up quite a bit, so I can't really rely on mailboxes to give me books like I have in the past, because in a lot, like 9 times out of 10, they're coming up with paper. I don't think I run the house. Do I run the house? Oh yeah, I do. I know I got that zombie creeping up. I'm still going for it. Now you probably noticed that I'm hitting a lot of like plastic garbage cans and tires. Like anytime I see them, and that's because I'm going for plastic. Anywhere where I can get plastic, I'm going for it, because I gotta focus on building a lot of dew collectors. I want at least 3 dew collectors early in the game, because I'm going to need a constant influx of water. And sometimes, based on how much water I find, out in the world when I'm doing missions, I may actually do 4 dew collectors. On this run in particular, I'm probably going to end up with the limited amount of everything that I'm running into. I may end up doing 4 dew collectors, assuming I luck into some, more glue and duct tape. But I've realized I'm coming up short in a lot of cases with food and water. It's not as plentiful as it was in my last run. So all the help I can get, it will be appreciated. See, I don't know how fast. The thing is, like, it's easy for me to fly through some of this stuff because I know the layout of the house so well at this point, having done it so many times. But some of the high rises, you know, the city areas and things like that, other POIs, I don't know them well enough to be able to just fly through and not get trapped. And that's the one thing that would really keep me. I don't know. It's funny because it's almost like it doesn't pay to be cautious. If that makes any sense. It seems like the more cautious I try to be, the worse it ends up for me. It's almost better for me to just rush in, run, and try to stay as mobile as possible. But there's something like ingrained in, I think, everyone, especially people who play like 70s and other games, like survival games, that is looting is like hard-coded in our DNA. Like when you see loot, you have to get it, and it's almost detrimental to a run like this to focus on getting loot. Because in a lot of cases, the loot just bogs you down and makes you slower. And the slower you get, the closer you get to death. And I'm starting to think that with just the wood and iron spike traps, I would say, even to a lesser extent, but with the wood spike traps, I think I could go into some really hairy situations in some of the high-rise building, maybe in the desert biome or the wasteland biome. I really do think that I could probably navigate them just fine and make the wood spike traps work very well if I just stay mobile and I really just focus on, you know, flying through the level as opposed to trying to be cautious, take my time. I say that until I come up against feral zombies who can outrun me. Or dogs or whatever, you know. I spend way too much time. You can tell I've spent way too much time in these opening biome and the opening areas because I get cocky and I think that, oh, well, this is easy to do. You can just run around and whatever. It's like, yeah, these zombies you can. But I'm trying to find the balance. And I was, on my last video, I kind of bled over. I cut out some stuff I was talking about at the end. I was talking about the possibility of even doing a pacifist run, which is just kind of ludicrous. It'd almost be just for, you know, an experiment. But the base that I'm going to build this run is I'm going to try to cheese the ramp wall, because one of the mechanics of the game is that the zombies will follow a wall, and sometimes they'll try to walk like across the wall. And if you have like a slight ramp, you can get it to where the zombies consider that to be like an actual path they can follow. And they'll try to walk the wall and then they fall off. And I'm thinking, if I can do that, make a wall that they'll consider an actual path and they'll walk along it and then fall off, and I can just loop it over and over and over, all my blood moons will literally just be, I mean, at least all my blood moons until I get spitters and faster moving zombies, things like that. It'll just be that cycle of them trying to get to me by trying to walk the side of the wall and then falling off, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. That's the hope, though, because that will free up a lot of time for me. It's not even going to free up time. What it's going to do is it's going to alleviate a concern I have that I have to spend an exorbitant amount of time preparing for the blood moon. If I can build a simple passive raid blood moon raid base, I apologize for this. I'm getting very phlegmy. If I can build a very simple passive early stages blood moon base, raid base, that is effective and does what I need it to do and can easily be erected, it frees me up mentally to be able to pursue late game preparation, or at least explore more into late game terrain. Because right now, like I said, I'm avoiding biomes, and, for the fear that it's going to start spawning high-level bosses. Not bosses, high-level zombies to start hoarding the base. And I don't want that until I feel like I need... If I can defend my main base with electrical traps, things like that, get something going, that'll be when I wouldn't mind going into those biomes. But at this point, I don't want it to be a situation where I'm just rinsing and repeating just so I can go days deep and say, "Oh, look what I've done." The whole point is to try to make it see what you can really do with the traps. And I really wouldn't want to push too deep. But I say that, but in reality, it's like the traps don't get any better. I could literally go into those biomes that I'm talking about right now, and it'll be just as effective as it would be for me later in the game. I mean, granted, I could put more skill points into cardio and into strength. Well, not even into strength, into agility. I can increase parkour. I can increase, just a little bit of agility, things like that, and cardio, pain resistance, and anything that could help me be able to slipstream through a lot of those POIs and stay mobile and stay, going, constant forward momentum. Avoid looting, only pick up books, stay the course, and just, drop traps and go. But it's a difficult proposition. I still feel like I would need to prepare. I would need to, I'd have to have a lot of medicine, water, food, maybe some candy, chemicals, things that could help me keep my stamina up, repair any damage that I take if I get caught, and, just anything that helps me stay as fast and mobile as possible. I feel like if I just went into the desert biome or the wasteland biome now and just started running around throwing traps down, I'd end up getting caught up because I'd run out of stamina, and then that would be it. And there's certain aspects in certain areas where running around isn't going to do it because the zombies are faster than me. Like feral zombies, they will outrun me every time. Dogs will outrun me every time. That's just the way it is. So I have to cougars or mountain lions or whatever, wolves. I put myself in a snow biome, and I could be dead before I even know it because, I just charged in thinking I'll just run away. You can't run from from those. I mean, even on the bike, even on a mini bike or a motorcycle, for instance, I don't think in the newer version of the game you can even outrun the you might be able to outrun the vultures. I don't know. I know during a blood moon I don't think you can. Maybe you can. on a motorcycle, but I don't think you can outrun them on. I know you can't outrun them on a bicycle, and I'm pretty sure you can't outrun them on a mini bike. So it becomes a situation of like, you know, if running is your only option and your biggest strength, it's going to fail you eventually because there's just certain things you cannot outrun. But I'm not too worried about vultures. I'm not as worried about vultures as I am about feral zombies and dogs. And then there's like the later game. Like, I honestly don't know what I'm going to do if I don't have a viable solution for taking on spitters. Then I don't know what I'm going to do about the demo guys, because they're just going to wreck my shit. They're going to destroy my base. But that's, you know, neither here nor there. I can't worry about things that I'm nowhere close to getting to. I got to get past this early section first. And part of that is quite literally getting a base going that isn't breaking the bank, so to speak, to build, requiring me days and days and days on end of incessant mining. The thing is, though, I gotta wait 7 days before I can actually test this. I'm gonna put the old plan into action this time, but I won't know its efficacy until, you know, the end of day 7, whether or not my effort is worth it. I decided to troll the zombie. I was gonna just break the block, let him come in, and have him run into my trap, but I'm like, I'll block it up, let him work a little harder. Yeah, I go after all of those little things laying on the ground because it's a good source of cloth and plastic, to be honest. And I need both. Plastic I need for dew collectors, and cloth I need for making duct tape. Assuming I can get a good influx of water. Kind of both hand in hand, really. Man, I did one run of this where I got a water purifier mod for the helmet, like right off the bat. I was like, oh, this couldn't have been better. Of course, it was one of my non-recorded runs. And I can't even remember what brought that to an end. I think I died a really dumb death. But sometimes you get caught. I mean, that's just the way it happens. Sometimes you think you've got it all worked out, or you get overconfident. You put yourself in a situation. I did it my last run. I ended up in some attic of some house that I was raiding, and I got jammed between some loot boxes and a zombie. And I had a trap down, but it was like the big woman zombie. And I'm like, I can repair this trap. I can just keep repairing this trap and keep repairing this trap, but she's going to push her way right through it. Like, so I just had to bite the bullet and push myself against her and force my way past her, or I would have just been dead. But I had to do, I mean, because I'm like, well, I could break the loot box to get myself out, but I was like, I can't do that. I came up there to get the loot. I'm not going to break the loot, you know, trying to save my own life. That was a hairy situation. I got out okay, though. The other thing I did last run was I was about to go start a mission, and I was encumbered like considerably. So I set up a storage container and put like a bunch of gear in it. And then I'm like, I go through the mission, or I go through the level, and I'm like kind of clearing stuff out. I'm like, okay, I come back, put some more stuff in the crate, and I start the mission. And it immediately, the storage crate disappears. I'm like, oh, it slipped my mind that, you know, when you start a mission, it resets the entire area. I was like, oh, and I'm like, I hope I didn't put anything of any real value in this damn crate. I was looking at my inventory. I'm like, I was struggling to remember, like, what the hell did I put in it? What the hell did I put in it? It wasn't until after I stopped recording and I went back and looked at the episode, or that day, I was like, see what I lost. And it wasn't anything. I mean, I at least had the mindset, or at least the foresight to just put in like crap. Now there was a bunch of like gun parts and tool parts and whatever that could have sold for some decent, dukes, but I was like, I could stomach losing that over some of the other stuff that I was carrying. I would have kicked myself seriously for losing. But mistakes are made, man. Mistakes get made. There's one thing I have to say about doing that. I kind of mentioned already that I'm doing commentary just due to the fact that I feel like these gameplays are just kind of boring on their own. I mean, maybe, I don't know. I'm not trying to tell people whatever. I guess the way I look at it is, if you don't like the commentary, you can just turn the audio off and watch it. I mean, it's literally no different than, just watching it without commentary. I mean, the game audio really doesn't add anything to the experience. Not 7 Days to Die. So, yeah, you can just mute this if all you want to do is watch me do stuff. Yeah, I've messed that up. But I feel like I gotta do it. Let me back it up. You can see that I got the 2 bike frames, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna sell one of the bike frames. This becomes interesting because I was gonna sell both, but I'm like, I'm gonna hold on to one just in case. Who knows? It actually works out in my favor a little later. While I said that I'm doing the commentary, just partially due to the fact that of how boring non-commentary or no commentary gaming to me is. The other reason is because I'm already editing. I mean, when I started doing this, I just wanted to take the video clips that I recorded and upload those to YouTube. I wanted to do it as lazy as humanly possible, which kind of precluded me from being able to do commentary in the situation I'm in at my house. But now that I have to do it because I'm recording OBS and I have these huge file sizes that I have to mitigate, and I basically just have to do editing. I figured, screw it, I might as well just do this. It slows down the pace of everything I'm doing, though, because I can only do I thought I could only do 2 days at a time, but I can actually do 3. I have enough storage to be able to record 3 days worth of footage, in-game days, which equates to about, 3 hours of gameplay, and then I gotta stop and I gotta edit. But I'm like, well, I'll do commentary. Now, this adds a whole other hour.
Don't let the door hit you on your way out.
Like, for every hour I play, I've then gotta edit, which it doesn't take an hour to edit, but it will take another hour for me to do commentary if I'm going to be doing it after the fact. So to speed the whole process up, I may actually just start recording commentary while I go, because that's just going to take a hell of a lot of time and a lot of effort to go back and watch what I'm doing and then comment. And quite honestly, I'm only commenting every once in a while on the stuff that I'm actually doing. Most of it's just been like me relaying thoughts and information about other things that you haven't even seen. I'm talking about runs that I've done in the past that I didn't upload. Like, who cares? At some point, I build out my base. I don't know what time it is. 18:15. Yeah, I'm going to start building out the base now. I don't know what my hang-up is with the whole subterranean thing, like wanting to dig down. I guess my whole thing is just I want to be able to work at night and not be impeded. And I used to set up at the little nodes, like mineral nodes. That's what I call them. I don't know what other people call them, but when you see the outcropping like of nitrite or nitrate or whatever it is, and lead, coal, iron, I usually box that in and then dig myself down into that. But with a trap only run, that's a very, very precarious situation I'm putting myself in, because I can't count how many times I've done that in the past, and I've been digging and digging and mining out certain areas, and then all of a sudden I'm dealing with like 3 or 4 zombies dropping into my mine that I have to then, dispatch so I can get back to mining. Not such an easy prospect with, when you're doing it with traps. You're in a tight, enclosed space. You're probably caught down there because they're all the zombies that are coming down are taking the same ladder that you'd use to escape, to come down to get you. So you're kind of blocked off there, and you've got very limited mobility and movement down in the mine. So laying out traps, hoping for the best is foolish. So that's kind of where I had that idea. It's like I need to isolate myself as best as humanly possible from an onslaught of zombies. And I thought just building a base where I can dig underneath the base and hopefully get some resources and materials out of that would greatly benefit me. It worked with the last one pretty well, but the last run is the last run. I mean, to be honest, one of the most important resources I need are, and this is just for the sense of like building a huge raid base, and that's cobblestone. So I'm mostly in it for the clay and rock. So building under my base, digging and mining under my base gives me a plethora of that. But if I'm not going to be building like an elaborate, well defended or well reinforced raid base, then I'm not going to need all of that. So that's why I'm saying like this run, by the time I get to day 7, is going to be, it's going to tell me a lot. It's going to tell me whether or not this is going to work, reduce my preparation levels. But boy, that's really gonna throw a monkey wrench in everything I'm doing, because up to this point it's been a lot of like building out my base and reinforcing it and mining. You strip away the mining, because it becomes superfluous at that point. Like, what the hell would I do? I don't know, guess go on more missions. But at this point, at this stage in the game, I have very, very little need for anything other than iron, stone, and clay, and wood. They're like the absolute fundamentals of everything that I'm doing. And while I have access to the forge, I have yet to build the forge, and I'm not going to be building the forge in any of the, like, in the first 3 days of videos. I don't build the forge because I just don't need iron yet, or the things that you can craft with the forge. How am I doing? Oh, I was thinking about the layout. I'm doing my setup for the up-downstairs thing. This is kind of in the same vein as the base of my last raid. It's in the same location. But last time, I kind of started out in a certain way and then just started expanding. And when I started putting the dew collectors up on the roof, I wanted to get access to them without having to like go out on that hill there that I'm digging into now and jump to the top. So I created a little area in the back where I put a ladder and then climb my way up to the top. I thought, well, I could do that better this time. I'll make it more stairs than I will ladder. That way, if I want to, be in a crouched position, walk my way up, I can do so without having to worry about being transitioned against my will into a standing position.
What are you standing there for?
Yeah, I went back and got the mission before nightfall because I realized that time was running out. I'd have to wait till the morning. I mean, I guess it didn't really matter. I wasn't going to go do the mission at night, but just another thing off my list of things to do the following day. Yeah, the one thing I don't like about restarts is that everything takes longer. Like chopping away at a tree, mining, digging, it all takes so long by comparison to where it gets when you got like steel tools. Oh. But this is it, like, Jesus, like 20 minutes of this. I mean, I guess you could make the argument I could just put this whole part in fast motion. Spare everyone the elongated situation. But it is a let's play, so technically I shouldn't be fast forwarding it at all. Kind of in a weird debate over whether or not it's, because I was thinking about this as far as in base construction. If I'm not intending to like hunker down in my base and weather an onslaught, I'm only using it to house my loot, basically, then why do I need to build it out so elaborately? And I'm starting to think about that more and more, especially this run. I keep thinking about like the cobblestone aspect of it, where I'm like, oh, I gotta get cobblestone. I gotta get everything's gotta be cobblestone. Like, why does everything have to be cobblestone? Like, I understand that if you want to have like, the best structural integrity as far as like building floors or anything horizontally. You don't want to, you definitely don't want to like have a bunch of like a forge and a workbench and, a bunch of crates, full of gear on material like that, just your particle board material. Because if anything happens to it, you pull something out inadvertently, something gets destroyed because some zombie blew up outside your base, and all your stuff setting on that sort of material, it's all gone.
Come back tomorrow.
So I understand that aspect of it, like of building up the materials to something that's more definitely sturdy. But I don't need wall-to-wall cobblestone. And I realized that when I started going into I think by day 3, I'm like, this is just ridiculous. I keep doing this over and over, and I don't need to do this. But on a sloped ground like this, it's almost like, well, where do you reinforce? So I just put myself against that, like the hill almost makes it pretty much a guarantee I have to reinforce the complete outside of the cobblestone. I think this is when I keep adding wood because I'm running out of wood, so I keep going 100 at a time or little bits at a time because I keep running out. It's being chintzy. Because I know it's going to be exceedingly difficult to try to get wood now that night's fallen. I'm shallowing up on water. Food's running out. Oh, yesy. My Aussie's laying next to me. She's having a nightmare. Think about it. See, it's only... And then I realize, as I'm staring at that for a second, I'm like, oh, I should have just waited until I had some cobblestone, then I could do that. But it all starts to sink in over time. It's like, man, why do I care? Why am I so obsessed about making everything cobblestone? I don't intend to stay in the base if it gets raided. I'm going to immediately eject myself unless, I'm not going to be in this base during a blood moon anyway. But if an impromptu horde appears and starts coming at my base, I'm immediately jettisoning the premises and, hitting the road. So I don't know why I would ever build it like a bunker. I guess just for something to do, really. Laying out the little grid for my dew collector. I want to go get that snake. I think that I'm just going to run this run the way I've normally run it, where I'm kind of like prep, build up, raid base, prepare, gather materials, gather books, increase my knowledge, blah, blah, blah. But if I fail at this run, if I end up dying early on or whenever, after I die, I mean, let's just say that after I die, there's my next run, I think I'm going to hyper focus on avoiding loot and just getting, I mean, obviously I have to put skill points into strength anyway, because I have to be able to chop wood. But I think I'm going to just focus on chopping wood and getting a huge amount of wood. Yeah, the snake annoyed the hell out of me. Took forever. And then, yeah, this is the one that gets caught behind the tree. It took me so long to get its attention, and then it gets caught behind the tree. It's like, God damn it. Just when it literally is just not doing what I want it to. Yeah, like I said, when I die on this run, the next run is going to be just hyper focusing on getting as much wood as possible, being as mobile as possible, avoiding all basically as avoiding as much loot as I can, and then going into the harder biomes and seeing how long I can hold up in those areas with just wood spikes. And then just start doing that for a couple of times just to see because it may be, I mean, the reality is this may be futile. I mean, if all I can do is hang out at the beginning, first few days and make this work, then it's not really a viable play style. What am I doing? I'm just going to go hunting for snakes, but I didn't see him until it was too late, but that's fine. I got two guys going after me. See, as I saw them, and I realized that when I was watching them right there, it's like, man, they don't run very fast at all. It's like, I could clearly outrun these guys. I know there's faster zombies than others, and if you keep running, they'll clump up. But see, even that little distance, I can't say enough about that one perk in the shadows or whatever. It pays the bills. Yeah, do you see all those zombies start to clump up outside the base at night? It's like that's why I don't keep my fires going, because I know if the fire's going, they're just going to keep clumping up, and they're more and more are going to keep centralizing to my little zone. And eventually they're just going to start hammering away at the walls. Ideally, I would like to get it to the point where I don't even need a base. Well, except for raid. That deer. I think That's the deer that runs into my trap. But then that one zombie gets to it before I can. Because I heard it go down, I'm like, oh, a deer. Might be able to get some free meat. This is where I had intended to set up my forge, but I think I'm going to end up putting it on the subterranean level in the hopes that that will help keep the heat level down. I don't think it really will. I think the heat level is independent of, height or what's surrounding whatever's generating it. I don't think you can shell yourself up like some Faraday cage of stone and metal. But gives me something to do, I suppose. I thought I could record all the commentary for these days tonight and then get in a few more recordings, but I don't think that's going to happen. I don't even think I'm going to get day 3 commentary done. It's pretty late and I'm fading. I still got a few more minutes to go. A few more minutes, geez. It's 1:39 according to the game clock. I had a plan. Yeah, I realize I'm missing out on opportunities with all my subterranean stuff to make it cobblestone, because I'm not going to be able to, it's not going to be easy for me to get back to it and upgrade it at a later time. So I figured do it now. But again, all that stuff's underground, so why does it need to be cobblestone, I mean, I don't know. I already know all the reasons why I'm dumb for doing it, but I guess you could just say it's an aesthetic thing, and I'm building my base, and I want it to look a certain way. I'm really obsessing over that one last block. It's like, just make more blocks. Damn, there we go. Yeah, I may have to forego this base building. This is mind-numbing. It's funny, it doesn't feel that way when I'm doing it. Yeah, I've spent so much time outside of this run now, doing like minor editing, creating that intro, and now doing these commentary tracks. I'm not gonna know where I left off until I do the day 3 commentary. But I'm kind of in the dark now as far as like how much water and food I'm left with. I don't think it's much. I really don't. And that's one of the things that I wonder about if, you know, when I said after this run, I die on this run, if I go back and just focus mostly on assaulting, if you will, the harder biomes in urban areas. My main concern there is just running out of food and water. But that's where I'd almost have to be, I'd just have to be vigilant in my pursuit of those things. I guess you could argue the fact that if I ever come across the like early game water purifier again, then I'll have the perfect excuse to do that, because then wherever I go, you know, and find water, I'll be able to drink it immediately. I don't have to set up a fire and process the shit. I just wanted to go up and down those steps, I think. Oh, lots and lots of digging. What I'm at what is that? Tier 3 tools. So I got 3 more tiers of tools to go up before I start gaining into iron. I gotta do a lot more missions. Oh, that's pretty much it for this day, and I hope you enjoyed it. Check back for day 3, and I will see you then. Later.